Good evening and welcome. Bloody hot day, isn't it? Isn't it a hot day, everybody? Eh? So you're in early. Simon Spruce first in the house. Kieran Evans. Good evening. Good evening, Simon Spruce. Good evening, Chris Devoe. Good evening, Phil Watkins. Gavin. Good evening, Oliver. Good evening, Jay Brooker. Good evening, Kieran Evans. Good evening. Oh, we said Kieran, haven't we? Robert Jeffrey. Good evening. Right. So what do you want to talk about? Fire away. We're here. It's your hour. Fire away. There must be some questions. It's been too hot to train dogs today. Went out early this morning and it was too hot. Dogs were blowing within 5 minutes. So, any questions? Anybody want to tell us what they've been up to this week? It's been raining most of the day. I see Alan's wrapping up his bales. He's gone live wrapping up his bales. Has Dougie shown any signs of dominance in any way since this mishap, Chris? No, not at all, Jay. Not at all. Raining in the Midlands all day. They give rain down here. We've got nothing but blue sky here. Still got blue sky. And no wind. It's been a really, really hot day. A really hot day. Good evening, Michael. So, Sue's in the house as well, everyone. I didn't know she was here. She's only over there. So what's going to happen, because no one's asking any questions, I'm going to sit Sue on the computer and she's going to answer the questions. She might get more questions that way. So far away. Come on, there's got to be questions. I mean, I've come on here to give you an hour of my life. Good evening, Denver. Good evening, not the tables, Carlos. Well, I've had a very eventful day today. Went to my brother's funeral, and because of this virus thing, they only allow 5 people from each side of the families. So it's a little bit strange. It was a little bit strange. And I'm not very good with funerals. When do you think you'll take a trip to Scotland again? Well, the memories are coming up on Facebook about last year's trip to Scotland, and I would like to have gone at this moment, to be honest with you, with all the things happening around me. But at the end of the day, I got dogs here, and because one-to-ones aren't as busy because of the lockdown and people not traveling so much, I've taken in more dogs training this season than I would normally, and so I've got to concentrate on them. That's what the customers are paying me for, so I've got to concentrate on them. So it looks at the moment that the Scotland trip this year is not going to happen. It really is a real shame. I was looking forward to it actually, but there's not been as much interest, and there's a number of people we contacted about rabbiting up there, and there's not the rabbits up there this year. So I don't know, that might have been part and parcel of it, but I've got that much work on with dog training. I think that this year I'm just going to concentrate on the dogs I've got here and videoing and building the Patreon site and concentrating on that. Where if I go away, last year I lost over a month's worth of work, people coming here, but I gained it on the trip. So that's that. So you asked that question. Any more questions? What about dog training? Anybody got any problems with their dog?
Yeah, Beardsmore 13.
Who, Susan?
Beardsmore 13.
So I'm trying to guess what wife is saying. She's talking over there about something, and she says something.
Well, Jay says, what do you think of the trip to Scotland? It's one underneath that, or 2 underneath that.
Oh, Beardsmore. Have you had experience of a dog with seizures? My 15-month has had 4 in the last 8 weeks. She's a Springer training, and the training's going well. No, I haven't, unfortunately, Beardsmore. I've seen a couple of dogs having seizures, and it's horrible to watch, but never had it. And I generally haven't got much experience with that. It's just a medical thing, and I think you just have to trust your vets to a certain extent. We did have one dog here from customers that she contacted me and said, this dog's having seizures, and she brought it up, and I watched it have a seizure, and she wants for £6 plus for anything in that area. I'm not having to go at the vets. I'm just saying that through the history of seeing people with dogs with seizures, if you haven't got pet insurance, it's going to be very, very, very expensive, and sometimes you've got to think, is the dog suffering? Is the dog suffering? But it's such a sad thing. 15 months old, I feel sorry for you. I would hate it watching your beloved pet having seizures. Not nice at all. Not nice at all. Peter, how do I get Jax to stop taking in too much ground? That's a difficult one, Peter. Very difficult one, that one. I've watched the videos. You've conditioned him to take in too much ground. I watched the videos, and he was pulling and pulling and pulling, and the only way to get him back on is I'd have to use an e-collar, and before everyone goes, oh my god, that man just said he used an e-collar, I'd use it in a very low stim and make it a game. And I can actually show you dogs. I could actually put up videos of dogs actually doing it with the e-collar and bringing them in tighter, so they see that the security is with you, and that's the important thing. Once you get a dog and you allow it to get out too far, you've got problems. As simple as that. It takes them bringing them back in. It's better to have a dog that's a little bit sticky and maybe looking at you a little bit, rather than, sorry, I've just got a cable here sitting down here. It's better to have a dog a little bit sticky as a youngster than having a dog taking in too much ground. The most difficult thing to do is get a dog back, because you've got to put pressure on the dog. And if your dog hasn't got a lot of drive until he gets on game, and then he'll pull you all over the place. If you get after him as a youngster, when he's not got the drive, you suppress the drive even more just because he's pulling, but that's because you've conditioned him. That's why it's important that when you train Harley Quinn, you don't put him on scent too soon. If you put him on scent too soon, he's going to learn to open up. Now, there's nothing wrong with putting the dog on scent if there's nothing there. So if you took out your older dog, flushed a bird, then went back or a couple of rabbits, moved them on, and then went back and got Harley, and then you put Harley on there, you get his head down. And I was explaining in my last video on Patreon about, if you get the head down, the dog will want to stay with you. If the dog lifts its head, even if it's got short legs like a cocker, if it lifts its head and can win stuff, it'll pull onto it. The idea is to get the head down, and we do that with tennis balls. Good evening, Katie. She's in the house. How would you train this 50% Springer, 25% lab, 12.5% collie, border collie? I've got my work cut out.
Have I got my work cut out? Not
really. Not if you want to round up sheep. Not if you want to round up cars, round up children. I've seen some Heinz 57s, and they've been quite good. I think the collie, you see the odd dog on the shoot that's okay with collies, but the problem is the collie tends to have noise. So I don't know if you've got noise, and they tend to run around like headless chickens sometimes. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not a specialist in mixed breed dogs, to be honest with you. But I don't go down that road. I've had the odd dog here that's mixed breeding, sprockers and stuff like that. But when you start mixing different genetics with different genetics, I don't know how you can say it's 50% Springer, 25% Lab, and 12.5% Collie, and 12.5% Border Collie, because who worked that out for you? It could be 40% Springer, 30% Lab, 22% Collie, and 1.4% Border Collie. So I don't know who worked that one out for you, Stephen, but good luck. Good luck. We all wish you luck on that one, Stephen.
Just hope it's got more Springer bring a friend.
I just hope it's got to, if you want it, you know, it depends what you want it for. You know, if you want it for rounding up sheep, you're laughing, aren't you? You've got more chance of a, because you can always get the outrun quite tidied up with a spring cross mixed collie, but it depends if you start chasing cars or biting wheels. Chris, took my black lab out, let the drive get too high, as I said to you some months ago. She whined with excitement of the retrieve. She no longer does that, but boy, does she want it. That's the way. So you need to bring that drive down now. Good evening, Ian. I've not heard from you for a while. Good evening. So that's what you want to do. You want to bring that drive down now, and you bring the drive down with obedience training, repetition, repetition, repetition. What do you do with dogs that refuse to leave its owner's side? It's literally glued to lady's leg and won't side look like it can't relax. What sort of dog is it, Kieran?
It's a German Shepherd.
Oh, it's a German Shepherd. Oh yeah, I see it underneath now. It's just followed up underneath. It's a German Shepherd. Do you know what? I think I'm getting to the point that I'm thinking, am I a Gundog trainer or an agony freaking aunt? German freaking Shepherd. I've got no idea without seeing the dog, Karen. It would be very difficult to say. I mean, the heel work may be immaculate. It may be shit scared. It may just be protective towards the woman. I don't know until I see the video. If you sent me a video, I might be able to help you, but it's not my specialist subject again. Perhaps you need to get hold of Steve Robinson, because he's got border collies. You're working with German Shepherds. I mean, what does she want the dog for? You know, what does she want the dog to do? It's funny, isn't it? Some German Shepherds are all bark and no bite, and other ones are little bastards. They'll nip you, and you can't be trusted. And then you've got your real hard ones if you bring them on right. I mean, and they will protect you. Try dropping it just behind me, and she is that quick. She still gets there first. The only way I can make her wait is on the lead. Right. Okay. So have I missed something? Oh.
That was following on from Denver's, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I wonder why. What? So you're saying that it's finding it difficult to put the stop on the dog, Denver? Are you? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Which comes in for 2 Ian Golds underneath that.
Ian Gold is Chris? What's the best way to sharpen the sit? These questions are. I'm trying to work things out at the moment. I just don't know if my head's right at the moment. What's the best way to sharpen the sit? Well, the sit is you ask it to sit. It's got to do it. You make it sit. Simple as that. Simple as that. If you've been complacent and you've allowed the dog to park its arse when it suits itself, then you're going to have to come down firm on the dog. At the end of the day, it depends do you mean sit when you want it steady, or it's just not sitting when you ask it to sit and you want to sharpen it up. You've got to get out after that dog. It's as simple as that. As simple as that. So Denver, but going back to Denver's question for a second, try dropping it just behind me. She is that quick. She still gets there first. So obviously you're talking about you've asked her to sit, you've thrown a dummy behind you, and she's getting there before you two, Denver. Well, the only way to do that is if you came to my training seminar at Alan's place last year, you would have seen how I can stop a dog get into something if it's not steady and I want the sit. Can anybody explain? They were at the actual seminar what Chris did with the long line and how he stopped the dogs get into the dummy launcher when we were firing the dummy launcher and the drive was too high. Could anyone explain? Let's see if you can remember. It was only last year. Sharpen a sit on a stop when running in. Right, so she's not steady, you mean? Right, so she knows what sit is. There you go. She knows what sit is. That's better that you've explained it that way, Ian. So sharpen the sit when she's not steady when she's running in. Right. So first of all, can you sit your dog next to you, throw dummies out, send it and stop it halfway? If you can't do that, you need to work on that. We used a motorcycle tire tied to the long end to slow them down. Exactly. That's the way I do it. So if I've got a dog that's running in, what I do, and it's really important you get your timing right, is you tie your long line to the motorbike tire or a car tire. It doesn't matter, because what you don't want to do is you don't want the dog to break its neck. So if you tied it to the bumper of a car, or you tied it to a tree and the dog ran in, the dog would hit the end of it and it could hurt itself. So what you want it to do, you want it to hit the end of the line, and then the tire will slow them down and they won't be able to get to it, and you'll be able to get to the dog. And the idea is you don't say nothing other than sit. You fire the dummy launcher, or you throw the dummy if they're not steady, and you let them run. And as soon as you can see that line is tightening right up, as soon as they hit the end of it, you blow that stop whistle sharp, and then you take them back to the spot where they moved from. And then you repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until they don't move. And I find that most dogs will get that within 2 goes. I think there was one dog that did tow the tire right across the field, didn't it? It was so funny. Dog training is breaking it down into stages. Everything is broken down into stages. You go back a stage if it's not working. And the result was epic. The big lab hit the tire and sat straight down, and the little naughty cocker had too much drive and took off with the tire. Exactly. It was funny, wasn't it? It was funny. And that's the whole point. If you think about it, we have to outthink the dog. And the dog's not that intelligent, is it, really, when you think about it, compared to humans? You just got to think outside the box sometimes. And I came up with that idea where, I wanted to slow a dog down. I didn't want to break its neck. And I trained a few Labradors that had lots of drive, absolutely lots of drive. And what would happen is I'd stand on the line and they'd just yank it from underneath your feet. Or if you're holding onto the line, if they got up to like 25 miles an hour in that split 15 seconds of running in, and they hit the end of the line, even if you're holding it with a big lad like me, it jolt every bone in your body. So at the end of the day, that's why I came up with the idea. Now, the reason that some of you might say, yeah, but your motorbike tire had foam sprayed into it. That was to make it solid, so that I can use it as a place board as well. So the motorbike tire works as a place board. I put it down, and then I put I've got a old traffic sign that I put on the top of it, and then I can put it on top of another tire, and then I've got a seat, so I can use it for a different multitask with it. Because I was saying earlier on Patreon, or on something I was talking to somebody about, I was saying that what I like to do is I like to class everybody who's living on a shoestring, right? And so my dog training is there to help everybody. If you've got facilities of an estate, and you've got mules, and you've got pigeons, and you've got pheasants, and you've got rabbits, and you've got the facilities for that, then you've got an advantage over other people who haven't got that. And not everybody's got that advantage. Some people go to train a dog in the backyard or the back garden. Some people got access to game farms and stuff like that, and scent, and other people haven't. So I've come up with this way of training a dog to a good standard for the average person, the average man, I would say, average man or lady out there. And that's why I train the way I train and show people the way I do. Yes, I could go out and buy all the fancy stuff. I could buy the dummy launchers, the pigeon launchers and all that. But I'm showing you how to do it on a shoestring. I'm showing you how to train a dog with the very basics. And that's what I think is important, to help people understand that you can get a dog to a very good standard, even if you haven't got the facilities, like a rabbit pen, the access to a rabbit pen. And she pulled it from under my feet. There you go. That's the drive you got. But what's happened is you now need to put the stop on the dog. And if you put the stop on the dog, you'll find that a lot of the Labradors are a lot softer than they used to be. They hit the end of that tire and they think, shit, how did that happen? They soon park their arse. And then what happens, once they've got them parking their arse, you don't go and undo the tire the long line on the end of the tire every time. All you do is go to the dog and undo the clip with the leash, with the collars, raised collar. We can unclip it, can't we? And then you just unclip it and send the dog. So the dog realizes. So when it comes back, you put it back on the collar. So you don't try and take it off the tire. But you'll find a dog will drag a tire like a weight pull, and you can get to the dog before he can get to the dummy. And if you get to him before he gets to the dummy and give the negative and drag the dog back, the dog then realizes, hang on, I can't win this game. So let the dog run in once or twice. But it's all to do with time, and it's blowing that stop whistle at that right moment. And then it's like you're not even having to give punishment, because the dogs give itself the punishment. It's give itself the negative, as we would say, it wasn't a positive. And dogs learn by negatives and positives. So you're not having to get out after it like we used to have to and give the dog a good old scruffing. What's happening is learning through association. Last year, my small cocker pulled a tire. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was hilarious. We all were laughing, weren't we? And the smallest dog actually had the most desire, didn't it? And it's lovely to see dogs that haven't been suppressed to that extent, but they learn through association of the negative. Yes, tried that, standing on it. There you go. And she pulled it from under my feet. So congratulations, Karen. Ailey's got a little puppy. She'll be tuning in all night now. She'll be tuning in all night watching me. She'll be leaving Karen on the sideboard. She'll be tuning in to me and asking me questions in private. Still has drive, Gavin. Yeah, that's great. Have you got the control on the dog though? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. I think I've actually been looking at videos of you, Gavin, on here with your dog when you came up to Alan. You had a lesson at Alan's, didn't you? I think you did, didn't you? Or not? Have I got the wrong Gavin? But did we not do a bit of pasteboard work and then he came back? Maybe the wrong guy. But,
he said last year my cocker pulled the tire, so he must have.
No. Somebody had a lesson before with a little cocker, 1-to-1, and then I think they turned up.
Yeah, that's right.
What?
That's what he said. That's right.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. So I'll put them videos up for you. I've actually found them on a memory stick, and I will put them up for you, Gavin, and see if you can see any improvement. That's the nice thing about watching the videos back of yourself with the dog. You can think, hang on, that dog's improved so much. Where if you're working with a dog every day, sometimes you can't. Yeah, I'm here, Chris, just listening, gonna wipe Karen out. There you go. I like a bit of competition. You can't beat a bit of competition. And then just the dog in the little competition our dog set up. Drew says, yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, Drew was, yeah. Drew said sit up with everybody's dog. Yeah. Remember that. I heard dogs eat people. Hang on, I heard dogs eat people. That's why I don't get a dog for myself. I heard the same about cats. Right, see that person there? Just wipe them out, will you? Sam Ope. Got nothing better in life to do. Just block it, will you? So somebody, one of the moderators. Oh, we only got Karen in here moderating them.
Karen, go.
Hey,
go for it, Karen.
Go on, Karen. Sam Ope. There you go. Yeah, living at ours next summer. Malcolm Warren, Chris, do you know how the shoots are going to operate this season because of COVID-19? Do you know what? Everywhere I've been in the last few weeks, no one seems to give a shit. It seems to be everyone's going back to like, oh, it's only a cold. If you catch it, you'll be all right. And yet we're now being told that we've all got to wear masks in the shops. Is it from Thursday? From Saturday?
Friday.
From Friday. So you've all got to wear masks again. Now, if it's not a real problem at the moment, and we've not been told to wear masks before, why all of a sudden, if it's going down, are we all asking to be wear masks? And they're dictating to us that we've got to wear the mask now. I got no problem wearing a mask if everyone's going to wear the mask, but everywhere I've gone today, no one's been wearing masks. So come Friday, everyone's going to start wearing masks, are they?
Yep, they have to.
They have to. But I've had people saying, I'm not going any shops that I've got to wear a mask. I think you're going to go hungry. I think you're going. And then I've seen a thing on the internet about the Muslim people with the burqas on saying it's still killing them and they've been wearing a mask for fucking years. Did you see that thing? They're all wearing burqas, letterboxes, Sue. And it says, how come they're still catching it then? Eyes. No, Sue said eyes. It's getting them in the eye, you know. But obviously, I don't think they wear it when they get home, do they? I just think they take it off when they get home. And it depends where their husband's been. It's like putting on a condom halfway through pregnancy. There you go, Karen. Never worn a condom in my life, mate. Never wore a condom in my life, honestly. Keep me protected. I'm going in. Katie Upton, can you say hi to George, please? George who? George Harrison?
Prince George.
Prince George? Hello, Prince George. Hello, Grandad. There you go. Quality, Chris. Loads of shit. No, show that one. That's Jason's all right. Jason's all right. Quality, Chris. Load of shit. I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like gone crazy, isn't it? We're now being dictated to. Where before it was like just use your nod and use your own head and think about it. Chris, have you ever let the dog's lead gradually fall off the dog? The dog thinks it's still on him. That's a good question. Once I've got a dog walking to heel and he's naturally walking to heel, I will drop the lead. And then if he's still walking to heel because he doesn't know he's dropped it, he's learning to stay at heel. And then what I would tend to do is then I just pick it up and wrap it around his neck a couple of times and just put a loop in it and get him to carry it like that. And he still thinks he's got the lead on. So it's breaking it down into stages again. So yeah, I mean, it's not the fact we drop it off completely. Sometimes you just throw it over his back so he's not dragging it, and they get used to that as well. If they're not pulling. Okay. What do you think to the rising price of puppies due to? I think Simon. I think it's absolutely disgraceful, Simon. The prices that some of these people are asking. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've seen pet sites asking 2,300 quid, and they want a £200 deposit, and they're just absolute scumbag rip-off merchants. And the problem is, some of these people. I had a person who's bought a pup off me from Jersey, and they're picking it up tomorrow. And she's flown across tonight. She's coming up with a transport like pet delivery service, who's going to bring her up, take the pup back down to Poole, stay in a hotel tomorrow evening, and then go back on the ferry in the morning on Friday morning. That's cost an absolute packet, but they can't get any dogs at all. And I've sold so many dogs on the channel, it's unbelievable. And Andy Stead is a guy I got to thank for that, because everyone sees him and his dogs of a very good standard and say, where can I get a dog like that? Where can I get a dog like that? And he said, oh, Chris Upton. And then it's like they've got to sort out the cost. Well, you imagine the flight, the ferry cost, the trip from Poole up to here and back with a working guy. I mean, it costs just as much as a bloody pup in the end. Can you? I said hi to George. If a fart can travel through your jeans, then a virus can go through a mask, surely. I don't wear jeans. I couldn't tell you about that. And I don't fart. I don't fart. Princes don't fart. Mother does, though.
Malcolm Warren. Miss Windsor spit up.
Malcolm Warren. It's going up hell of a fast.
2, 3, 4, 5. 6 up from high to
Malcolm Warren. Hi, Chris. Do you know how the shoots are going? Oh, that was it. That was a question he asked, and I didn't answer it. Chris, do you know how the shoots are going on going to operate this season? Because do you know what? They're all vary, Malcolm. I did hear that a number of shoots had said they weren't going to run shoots this season, and they put it out there for everyone. And now they've gone in there with limited birds and not so many days, because obviously they're taking the chance that it's not going to get shut down again, closed down again. That's the problem they could cause themselves, isn't it? Just imagine it came down heavy again in certain areas where you had to lock down, clamp down, and you had 40,000 birds out on the shoot. Jesus Christ, it can be some rough shooting when that season's finished, isn't it? And imagine what 40,000 birds crop damage that would do if they hadn't shot them. The farmers would be going through the roof, wouldn't they? And at the end of the day, it may have some lovely wild birds all over the country if that happened, but it's an expense that you've just got to weigh up and think, can we afford to do it? So I think a lot of the shoots are going ahead now because of the virus numbers have gone down, and they had to make a decision months ago, really. But when it first happened, I think a lot of them panicked and went, oh, that's it then, that's the end of the season. But I think a lot of them have changed their minds and had a smaller amount of birds in. So I hope that helps you with that. It says here, Stephen Robinson, it was one of those DNA test kits, Chris. What is Steve on about?
You said.
Oh, right. Sorry, Steve. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Those DNA test kits. I don't know. I don't honestly know how they can guarantee that. The science comes up with that, and yet it's like they come back with Sprockergate, wasn't it? And they came back and said, yeah, we can prove that it's not a genuine Springer or a genuine Cocker, but we can't prove when it happened. I just don't know if there's enough science involved in all that yet. So I wasn't being funny when I said, how could you tell it got that much and this much and that much? But bloody hell! So you had a dog, and you decided to get it DNA tested, or did you have it? Did you mate it, Stephen, with other dogs, with another bitch from another line, and not a line, another breeding, and then had it DNA tested to see what it was like, and found out that you've got such precise measurements? Okay. See, Katie's trying to turn it into just a rude show, isn't she? I mean, the mothers think it's funny. Look, mother thinks it's bloody funny.
No, I don't.
Do you know what? I just say this to everybody. You know, I talk a lot about environment. Hello, Andy Stead. All right, boy. We talk about environment and where we come from and how it defines us as people. And exactly the same as the dog. It depends on the environment they come from. And when the more you study it and the more you look at it, the more you realize how your past and how your life has been in the past defines your future, unless you can change completely. And sometimes you've just got to change that mindset. And that's the same with these dogs. When they come here and they've been loved and spoilt and they've got no manners and they've got no boundaries, and they try and take over, it's like watching a spoilt child that's had everything given to it, and yet the child just doesn't really appreciate life because they think that is life, that is everything. And I'm not saying that someone from a very poor area is a better person than someone from a rich area, but if you've had the backing of a loving family and a caring family, and you've had that support, that's the same support as that puppy having that during those early stages of its life. And then you've got a more rounded pup and a more balanced pup. And my brother's funeral brought this back to me today, because my family is so disjointed and no one, there's no family connection. It's a sad situation, and it's been like it for a long time. There's so many breakdowns in the relationships between family members that we're not got a family bond, a tight family circle. And it's the same as, you know, having your pups in a litter and those pups staying with that litter until they're 8 weeks old, and you've got these puppy farmers wanting to keep them in cages and take them out and only have one dog in each cage, and then they've got no social skills when they get together. And it brought back to me the importance of family. And my brother, one of my brother's kids was there, and that was one of my first brother's kids, and my first brother committed suicide, unfortunately. And so I'm at the funeral for my second brother who's committed suicide, and my dad is at the funeral, and my dad sees me standing outside the church or the funeral thing, waiting to go in, and as loud as anything in the crowd, he shouts, "What's he doing here?" At that point, I could have floored him, but I didn't. And I could have been abusive towards him in front of everybody and caused a scene, and I didn't. I didn't give him the satisfaction. And he made himself look so silly because everyone just looked around and went, "What's he on about?" Now, I've done nothing terrible to my old man, but my old man's never been happy in anything I've ever done in life. And if you've got the backing of a family that's caring and loving, I'm not saying I'm jealous, but I envy that loving relationship of a family who do anything for each other. And I think that people who have had that sometimes are so much more rounded and balanced than dysfunctional families that, because of certain situations, whether it's split ups in marriages or fallouts in the family. And they say, don't they, you can't pick your family, you can pick your friends. But it's a funny old thing, isn't it? It's the same as dogs. I say to so many people, would you get rid of that dog because he's showing signs of aggression, or he's showing signs of he's not balanced? No, I wouldn't get rid of him. I couldn't get rid of him. I couldn't get rid of him. And yet families will cast families aside for silly, petty arguments, won't they? And not speak for years and years and years. And I think to myself, dogs don't think that way, do they? They live in the moment. Now, if you've got a dog that's been abused, then that dog could carry scars. And that's exactly the same as humans. They carry scars. And when I've seen my brother's lad say to my dad, you don't even know who I am, do you? And he said, no, who are you? He said, I'm one of your grandsons. Which one? That was come from my own father's mouth at the funeral. And I thought to myself, why am I here? I'm paying respects to my brother, but why am I here with my own dad talking to people like he's talking to them? And such a sad situation, isn't it? That when you look at life, you get out of life what you put into it, don't you? And that's exactly the same as with the dogs. If you don't put the balance into that dog, and you don't put the time into that dog and spend time nurturing that dog, then you're going to get a dog who's confused, mixed up, and can't handle life. And that's so, it came back to me in such a way because of the situation that I've got in. It's so easy, isn't it, to say, right, okay, I'll just get on with my life because I can't be bothered with all the drama. But it's the same with a situation with a dog. I've got a young dog here, well, not a young dog, he's a 3-year-old Labrador. And 3 years old, he should be socially balanced. He should not be as scared as he is at 3 years of age. He's scared of his own shadow. He doesn't want to listen. He's got whale eye. And I look at him and I think, you've had 2 different homes that I know of. You were bought at 2 years of age, and you've been with the owner, the client who sent me the dog to train with the dog. And I look at the dog and I feel sad for that dog, because that dog, I'm not saying he hasn't had a good start in life, but there's something in that dog's life that he's confused. Now, you could say, because someone asked a question on Patreon the other night, they said to me, do all dogs settle in with you, Chris, when they come in? And I think Luke Dixon asked the question or something. It's a good question, because each dog is different, the same as each human. And when you see a young kid who's in his 20s crying at a funeral for my brother, right, and yet his own dad committed suicide as well, you imagine the trauma that can give people. You imagine what that does to the kids, because it's the people who get left behind who've got to pick up the pieces and move on with life. And I think to myself, this is what it's about, everyone. It's a deeper thing than just, how do I teach the dog to sit? How do I teach the dog to come to me? It's that bond between you and the dog. And if you get the bond right, the dog will want to be with you. And that's exactly the same as your kids. If you treat your kids right, they'll want to be with you. And yet sometimes the kids that have gone through shit are actually got more devotion for their parents, even though they've put them through shit. It's a funny thing, isn't it? And that's the psychology that I find it is unbelievable. I'm standing there, and because my life is dogs, I evaluate everything in the same way as in the psychology side of it. Kate Russ, what do you think about the dogs getting stolen? I'm considering putting tattoos in my dog's ear as backup to the microchip. What do you think? I think it's terrible, the amount of people stealing dogs at the moment. I think it's an absolute disgrace. I think the only thing you can do is as much prevention up as possible. It's like, I mean, we've got security here, we've got cameras, we've got a security gate, we've got alarms in the kennels, we've got cameras back and front. That's the price you pay when having dogs. And do you know what? They don't seem to be bothered, do they? Anyone don't seem to be bothered. if your dogs do get stolen, they don't realize the upset that can cause to people. Because, like I said, some people, you know, don't after their dogs as much as they don't after their children, and you know, so I've seen it done with the tattoo on the dog's ears. To be honest with you, it's quite painful. It's quite painful.
It's not being funny if they can cut the microchip out of the dogs with now. Surely the dog can scrape the tattoo off them.
Scrape the ear. Yeah. So I, you know, at the end of the day, it's terrible. You can see the Springer.
Yeah, no, that.
I wanted another sprocker, but my wife came back with this thing, and that's why I had it tested.
You gotta love her though.
You gotta love her. Why is
That's
that?
a nice thing for her to do. Buy a little puppy like that for her.
Did it look like a Springer? With the 50, with the
You
50.
can see the Springer in it, and it has lab ears.
All right, lovely. Well, you should be a good multitask dog then, shouldn't it? If you think about it, you should be able to sort of you should be able to do a number of things. You can enter agility. You could enter sheep herding. You could trial it, couldn't you, on the sheep trials? As long as you get out and you lead doon.
Could be an all-rounder.
Could be a cracking all-rounder. But if my missus came back with I'd send her out again. Simon, thanks for talking honestly about your family. Hats off to you. Yeah. If you've got, all I can say to you, and I'm not going to keep going on, if you've got a loving family, then you are very, very lucky, because if you've got a family that all support each other and you all get on, I'm really pleased for you, because that's one of the things in life that I perhaps have missed out on, because there's stubbornness, there's pig-headedness in all of us, but
until you met me.
Until I met my darling wife.
Matthew Cloud, it's a few bit back, so I'll read it out. Chris, I've got a 5-month Springer that walks to here when I tap my leg. What am I doing wrong? Off lead as well.
Where was this?
Ooh. You haven't got time. So
Oliver Swift. There was a Springer's bitch stolen in Wexford in Ireland 3 weeks ago with a 7 puts yet and doubling that microchip cut out of her ear. I saw that, Oliver. It was terrible. Absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful.
Well, it's 6 on.
Chris, in your experience with shoots, how would you suggest approaching them to use the dog for first time to gain experience, and any advice? Well, normally, Jason, you'd have to go beating with the dog. You wouldn't normally get into a picking up team until they've seen that you've got a really good dog. And you might not want to be in the picking up team. But most shoots, especially smaller shoots, want dog people. Some of the bigger shoots, they've got so many birds, they just want men or kids tapping with a stick and pushing birds through the woods. And then sometimes your dog's on the lead more often than it is actually hunting. But on the smaller shoots, I'd say the 200 bird shoots, that's when I say smaller, 200 bird shoots downwards. As soon as you start going to the 400 and 500 and 1,000 bird shoots, they just want a mass of dogs to sweep up afterwards. If you're in the picking up team, they're not looking for well-trained dogs. They're just looking for numbers in the bags. And at the end of the day, towards the end of the season, they want your dogs because they got to find the birds. But early in the season, they don't really want your dogs because you just be tapping as you're walking through the woods and just trickling out the birds because they're coming out in such numbers. And if you've got a dog that's not really well trained and he gets into a shoot like that, a big shoot, and he ruins a drive, the keeper's not happy, and they might not ask you back if you've got no control. So the best thing is to get that dog trained first to a reasonable level before you take it on the shoot. Simon, so we're
you read the Jason one, so
I wonder if there's been a lot of second-hand dogs for sale in 6 months. I love a decent cocker bitch, but can't afford one. Been around gun dogs all my life. Some of the cockers are fetching silly money, aren't they? That's the problem, isn't it? I think it's got absolutely ridiculous, the prices they're asking some of these people. And the thing is, a lot of them just got on the bandwagon, so they're using a champion or they're using a top dog, but they're using it on a bitch line that's not particularly good. But to be honest with you, people don't really care. There's a certain amount of people who are trialing, out and out trialing people will only buy from champion to champion or top quality lines. And then you've got the other end of the scale, you've got the pet people. They're just some of them just don't even care about the pedigree. We've spent all those years nurturing my lines and being selective with the breeding, and I think at least 3/4 of the pups went for pets this time. well, what can I do? What can I do? Can I say you can't buy it if you want a pet? It's only for working homes. Well, I might be stuck with them here. But this time, we could have sold four or five other pet pups easy, couldn't we, Sue? With the amount of people wanting them this time. And that may be because not so many people are breeding because of the new Kennel Club rules and the government bringing in the rules they've brought in. But the average Springer Spaniel pup at the moment is $750 over here. The average pup for a Springer Spaniel. It's just getting silly. But the expense of it all is getting dearer as well. Where's this question? Is it below, above Oliver Swift or? Don't worry, Susan. I'll just go and have a look. Malcolm Warren, Chris. Do you know how? No, I'm doing that one. I'm trying to find it.
What do you think? Yeah, it's above Oliver Swift.
Yeah, but Oliver Swift is all over the place because there's 2 or 3 of them here.
That was the Springer bitch stolen. So you're 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I've seen Sprockers for £3,000 lately, and many dogs at $2,500. Disgraceful. And anybody who's paying that sort of money is just mental. Customers just paid $2,500 for a lab. There's some idiots out there. Trust me, there's some idiots out there. But the problem is, it will push the prices up. What Penny's breeder, Haley's new bitch, was asking £1,500 a pup. Jesus Christ! There you go, eh? There you go. I've bought a dog for 10 quid. A woman contacted me and said, you train Springers, I've been told. She said, I got this Springer and it's absolutely mad. It jumps from one settee to another settee. We got 3 kids, she said, and the kids think it's hilarious. But she said, I've never seen a Springer do that before. She said, it's mad. It's absolutely mad. So I went up this house and I went in, and you wouldn't believe it. It was literally leaping from one settee to the chair and running around the settee and back on again. They've driven it absolutely mad, these kids have. And so I looked at it with all starry eyes and thinking, 10 quid for a freaking out-and-out hunting machine. It's going to be that's going to be a driven dog, that is. Let's see if I can train it. So I said, how much do you want for it? She says, give us a tenner. Give us a tenner. So I couldn't get the tenner out of my pocket quick enough. She gave me a dog box. She gave me about 6 leads, 75 toys, 18 cans of dog food, a bag of dog food, all these freaking fluffy things. I came back just soon. She said, what's that? I said, I just paid a tenner for it. I trained that dog up. He had no paperwork. I trained him up. I got 1,500 quid with him for him within 6 months of age. Within 6 months of training him, he was an absolute superstar. From a mad, crazy bastard, right? He turned into an absolute wonderful working dog with drive, desire, wanted to play the game, and brilliant at climbing walls. He'd clear the kennel. He'd climb back into the kennel because he enjoyed the kennel life so much with the other dogs. And it just shows, isn't it? 12 months of age, running around like a lunatic, no obedience at all. They couldn't get him to do nothing, and he'd taken over completely. And to change that dog around, that's the dogs I like. When I get them for like 300-400 quid and turn them round, I mean, that's the ones I like. And I like to watch them change. It's not, to me, it's not all about going out and buying from champion to champion all the time. Although you want quality, see, Chris, Penny will be exactly that in 12 months. Like I said, see you in 12 months. That's it. Let it go wild and then come and see me. Let it go wild and then come and see me. Not the same as Carl. It's funny, Chris. We've been learning about dog training for the last few years with yourself, and the more you learning about dogs, you can relate to people too. Exactly. It's so true, isn't it? It's so true. And sometimes the person who is slightly bolshy and in your face, underneath, isn't that sort of person. And dogs are exactly the same as well. And yet some people are shy and reserved, and you've got to bring it out of them when they come here, but they open up. But the amount of people who walk through that gate, complete strangers, I have a better relationship with complete strangers than I have with my family, my own blood, because of the situation of the environment I come from, what happened when my father went bankrupt and I was stayed in the Midlands and all that. You know, it's so funny, isn't it, that your environment can change you as a person, but sometimes you've got to get off your arse and you've got to make a go of life, and you're going to get knocked down a few times. And if you get back up and push it, it makes you a stronger person for that. And that's the way I look at life. I don't look at life as a negative all the time. We don't want shit all the time in our lives, do we? But I don't dwell on the past. I live for the future. I live for going forwards, not going backwards. And that's the important thing to me. And I think that's why I like the dogs so much, because they live in the moment. Although, yes, they can carry those scars and you may never get them over certain things, but you can change the mindset of those dogs. And that's the wonderful thing about it. It's wonderful to see a dog come here. This Labrador is going to be a challenge, but I enjoy a challenge. If it was every dog was easy to train, like so many are, what's the point of really testing yourself or having to learn if it was so easy to train dogs? Each dog is different, the same as each human. And that's what I found so emotional today, that my brother's kid who had to go through his own dad committing suicide when he was, I think he's probably 5 or 6 or 7 years of age, and then now to go to a funeral with his brother's brother doing the same, and how emotional he was. And I thought, he's such a nice, sensitive soul, such a nice lad. And I took him out and bought him dinner, because I sat down with him, because he'd gone all that way to the funeral of all the grandkids and all the kids that we've got. He went to the funeral and he was walking home to get back into town. And I pulled up and said, "Where are you going?" And he said, "Into town." I said, "I'll give you a lift, you like it." And at the end of it, it was nice to sit down with him and talk about life. And that was nice, because you've got to reach out to people, the same as people struggling with dogs, or people who come to me and they're all wound up and they got a busy life and they ain't got time for the dog, and the dog's a pain in the arse, but they want to get it right. I've got to get them right. If I don't get them right in the mind, then I don't get the dog right, because the dog's going to go backwards. So when I train a dog, I've got to train the person to be able to handle the dog and understand the dog. I mean, a fine example is Darcy. She's coming on really well in some ways. Sorry, so just a second. Sorry, so someone just says sorry to bother you, and I thought it was important that you were asking me to look at a pedigree, so I'll look at it afterwards. Like I say, my phone is going ping, 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 ping all the time. My emails go ping, ping, ping. I love what I do. It's my passion, and it keeps me alive. It keeps me motivated to move ahead with what I'm doing. And so that's why I sometimes open up a little bit and explain to you what's happened to me in the week. Because at the end of the day, sometimes we all go through shit and stress and things around the corner, and yet we still got to get up and we got to get out there and move forward. Chris, are you planning on having another litter? Sean, yes, I am, but one more litter this year. I can only have 2 litters a year, and we will only be having one more litter this year, but not it may not be for 5-6 months, but yes, we will be having a litter. I've got 2 bitches that I could put into pup, but I don't know which one I'm going to do at the moment. But to be honest with you, it's the last 2 weeks of having the pups is real hard work if you put as much effort and time into them to build that bond with them, that human bond. And as you can see, I've been putting up the videos to show people, and that's what we've been doing. But he sold the rest of them at that price. Hang on. We didn't pay that, but he sold the rest at that price. There you go, Kieran, eh? There you go. A lot.
Matthew Cloud. Well, you still haven't answered it.
Hang on, Matthew Cloud. I've just seen Matthew Cloud. Matthew Cloud, I paid 550 nicely bred Springer from Wales in April. That's about the right money, Matthew, to be honest with you. Let's be honest. That's about the right money. And you know what? The boys in Wales, they haven't got the income, the same as people in Cornwall. Down here, people haven't got the income to start paying £2,000, £3,000 for a dog. I mean, only these guys up north, these bloody people from near Manchester, these Karen's gang, you know, honestly, honestly, the money they've got, this lot, honestly, I think they work at a bank at night porters. Okay, so
I wonder whether
Matthew Cloud was further up, did you say?
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm just going to go up. and try and find Matthew Clouds, because Sue's not helping me in the slightest here.
Well, you haven't got time, have you? Like I said, Chris, I've got a 5-month Springer
Yeah.
that walks to heel when I tap my leg.
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong? Off lead as well.
Well, I don't quite understand, Matthew. I don't quite understand what you mean. Why are you tapping your leg if it's wrong? Why walks to heel if you tap your leg? But do you want it to walk to heel when you tap your leg? Why are you tapping your leg? That's I'm trying to read the question in case she's read it to me once and I'm thinking I don't quite understand the question. So if she's like, come over here and read it out again, because I don't think half of you people can hear what I have to listen to in the background. She's giving me like, when I tap my leg,
Chris, I've got a 5-month Springer.
Yeah.
That walks to heel.
Yeah.
When I tap my leg.
Right. So do you want it to walk to heel?
What am I doing wrong? Off lead as well. So is it too? Is it you want me driving it or what? I don't know.
Well, why are you tapping your leg? It's you're conditioning it to do what? Is it a little bit nervous? Is it a sort of dog that's not got a lot of confidence, and when you tap your leg it comes in, or is it just a dog that likes to follow? I guarantee I've got dogs out there in the kennel that have not got that dominance, that testosterone, that the genetics to want to be leaders, and yet I have got other dogs out there who want to be top dog. They're fighting for that positioning, not in a nasty way, but they would take that position of top dog in the pack if they could. And others are happy to follow. You may just have a dog that is happy to follow, but like the question you asked me, when I tap my leg, he's walking to heel, but when I don't, he's still walking to heel. What am I doing wrong? You've got to go back into gameplay and put more emphasis on the gameplay and the desire to retrieve. Now, if he's got real desire to retrieve and he walks to heel with you, you're laughing, aren't you? You're laughing because you've got a dog who wants to be with you, and you can let that dog start to open up. And some of them dogs, they're better than the Ed cases that just want to take in so much ground. I mean, Peter Taylor was on about that with his cocker. If I've got somebody coming here on a regular basis with their dog, I wouldn't allow that dog to get into that habit of doing that. And I'd be telling to that person, no, you let the dog get out too far. You're letting the dog get to that position. And what will happen is he will allow the Springer to do exactly the same if somebody doesn't rein him in and show him what to do. But it's on my videos. And the idea is you've got to watch the videos to see why it's important to keep that dog in close to begin with. There you go. Look, Karen, to be honest, I wouldn't think twice about disembowering anyone that even attempt to take my dogs, but it does happen, and it must be awful for the victims of. Exactly. I wouldn't hesitate to defend myself if someone come onto my property, and if I found them in my yard, they would be in trouble. They would need the police.
Matthew's come back.
So hang on. Did it come coiled up?
No idea.
Well, we're talking about condoms again, are we, Andy? We would welcome some dogmen on our shoot. There you go. Look, without beaters and pickers up, shoot days wouldn't happen. You're dead right. Steve Robinson, that's what I thought, Chris. It's either clever or as thick as shit. Not much collie traits in it. I like your sense of humour, Stephen. You've got to have a sense of humour. Do not say to the missus, take it back where you got it from. Did you go, thank you, darling? That's very nice of you, you bastard. Let's all have a guess. Let's all have a bit of a joke, shall we? Let's have a joke with Stephen, not at Stephen. So Stephen's got a dog that's mixed bred, and we all know it's got collie in it. It's got sheepdog, it's got collie, it's got everything, a bit of everything in there. So if you've got a dog and it's got collie, what would you name it? Because we're going to ask Stephen in a minute. What did they name the dog? Was it named Shep? Come on, what? Eh? Heinz, Sue said. She's terrible, honestly. Sorry, Stephen, honestly. So I've got Shep. Susan's got Heinz. Come on, any more names? Help. And then Stephen can tell us what he named the dog. Where are we? We don't have much money, to be quite honest, but I'm very happy and content in life. I have everything you need: a good girlfriend, my dogs and my children, and freedom, and a roof over our head. That's the way to think, I think, personally. I think sometimes you can chase goals and chase dreams and you can push yourself too far, and before you know it, you look back and think, I missed out on life. I think you've got to live life from day to day, enjoy it. Here we go, Peter Taylor. I won't make the same mistake with Ollie. I've learned a bit with mistakes and I've made with Jax, but he's still work in progress. Exactly, Peter. And you love the little bugger, and your missus loves the little bugger as well. And that's what it's about. It's about enjoying it. It's about enjoying it. And if you love your dog, it's like your children, isn't it? If you love your children, you can't find fault in them, can you? Well, I can.
Always remember.
I can still find fault in my kids, but I can still love them as well, and I can forgive them. And that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, spot on, Chris. If it was an electrical appliance, it would have gone back.
Yeah, spot on. It was electrical appliance. We enjoy every single day. We waste not a single moment. We live a busy life, but a very fulfilled one. Do you know what, Karen? I've watched a number of your posts, and I've seen you playing with the kids, and I've seen you all having a happy time and camping and that. And I think that's the way it should be, because it's the same with Kate. You know, it's every day was like, where are you going, Dad? Forget in the car. Where are you going, Dad? It's like, fucking hell, I want to go dog training. Can I come? Can I come? And got to give her that. She never lost enthusiasm for wanting to be with her dad. And I think the nice bond we've got now is because of that. You know, it's because of that. She named it Maggie, Chris.
I knew she'd name it.
Meg Ram. Deep Ram. Okay. Chocolate Starfish was trying to say thanks for your excellent advice and guidance, which I've followed now for about a year. Thank you again. No problem at all, Chocolate Starfish.
I took my 2-year-old lab bitch out today for a few hours in the hide, and she really surprised me. She still needs a few points ironing out, but that will come. That's why he's saying thank you.
That's lovely, Chocolate Starfish. And that's what it's about, isn't it? My videos have helped so many people. Yes, it's caused a controversy. And someone was talking about that today. They said to me at the funeral, they said, God blimey, you're a bit of a film star on the internet, aren't you? I said, don't freaking call me a film star. I freaking criticize film stars left, right, and center. I'm not a film star. I'm just a passionate guy who loves what he does, likes to help people. I'm 57 varieties. That's it. Just a passionate guy who loves to help people, seen people struggling, wants to have a good relationship with a dog. And that's what's important to me. You know, I don't care what background you come from. I don't care if you're royalty and I've dealt with really well-off people, and I've dealt with people with nothing. And you know what? I take everybody face value. If you're decent to me, I'm decent to you, and I do my best to help everyone. That's all I can do in life, innit? And at the end of the day, I've made so many people a happier, content person with the progress they've had with their dog. And yet I've put my head above the parapet and talked about discipline. And there ain't many trainers out there give it the way I give it, do they? You see warts and all. I don't talk about my personal life all the time, but when it bothers me, sometimes I do say these things. Oh, by the way, everyone, Julian Lee's just said something. Any news about Catherine and her cocker from Devon? I've see her on Facebook. She's on my Facebook list, and she's doing a lot of farming at the moment. I think she's very busy, and she's doing a lot more running. I think she's got a dog to a reasonable standard that she's happy with, and she's content with it, Julian, and I'm pleased for her. She contacts me every now and again and says something. She's a lovely lady, Catherine. Ray, he contacted me, and Ray said he's on the runway. He's still trying to take off, but he's not giving in. So I said, chocks away and smoke me a kipper. And hurry up, you bastard. You worried us. So he actually contacted me and spoke to me in Messenger. So that was nice that Ray is getting his sense of humor back. And then he sent me a picture of, I won't tell you what picture he sent me. So he's obviously getting better. And so I was really pleased for that. It's nice to hear from him. And he obviously he found it a bit funny about being on the runway and trying to take off. So he's on the mend, hopefully.
There's one question that it's on back like half an hour.
John Wilson made me happy, and my girlfriend, she even watches you in bed with me. Don't know if I should be worried. John, I'm going to dream about that tonight. You tell her I'm going to dream about that tonight. My dirty mind. I'll see you Saturday. You're coming down Saturday, aren't you? Make sure you bring her. Pleasing on the eye, that's all I can say. I'm being very polite. Very polite. No, she'll get embarrassed now. She'll slap me when she sees me. No fault in me, thank you. Oh, she's listening. I don't know why my daughter's listening. She has the biggest fur babies in freaking England. She's heard her dad talk about, but do you know what? She don't take no prisoners neither. She treats them like they like spoiled children. But she don't take no prisoners with them, and they do listen to her. So there's a balance, isn't there? It depends what you want. I have been and seen Ray. He said he was going to ring you. You've been to see Ray? All the way down to London? All right, lovely. All the way down to Dover. Well done, Karen. Bloody hell, that's some trip. Well, it's not perhaps so much for you. It's probably 180 miles. I didn't know that. Well done.
Yeah, John Wilson.
1-to-1 to exercise the building up, picking up team. What did you say, Sue?
Yeah, John Wilson. Yes, mate. She will be with me. I'll make sure she wears something tight.
I like John. He got a sense of humour, that boy. He just watches with my eyes. They go in the back of my head. I'm trying to concentrate. I'm trying to watch the dog. Stop it. They're a lovely couple. Lovely couple. And the little dog's a manic little cocker. And we'll hopefully get some videos up for you. Yes, 6 hours to Canterbury. Well done. Well done. That's nice of you to go down there. Did you take him a bottle? If it's whiskey, don't worry, because you don't drink it. He'll send it me. What's he?
There's one question that I'm trying to find it again now.
Sue's trying to find one question.
Harry Boy 1212. What exercises to do to build up to picking up season? He wants to know.
Exercises to do to build up picking up season. Well, the important thing is when you bang out the tennis ball on the racket, does the dog get to the fall, or does it start hunting the field out? If you push it out on a blind for a retrieve, does it go out and then put its head down when you ask it to and hunt that area? Because marking ability is really, really important for picking up dogs. If your dog can mark, it looks really, really skillful, because all you do is stand there, bird gets shot, comes down, you watch the dog, watch the bird. As the bird hits the deck, you look at the dog. If the dog's looking at the bird and it's going to look like it's going to run, you can say, get out, and the dog will go straight to the fall, pick the bird and come back. If your dog's looking at you instead of looking out at the birds that fall out the sky, you may have more control, more steadiness, but the dog is in a disadvantage straight away. So marking ability is a really important thing. So that's why we go through stages. Once we put the stop on the dog and we come down firm on the dog, we put the stop on the dog, then the dog, when you throw a dummy, sometimes the dog will look at you a little bit because you've been more dominant with the dog, but then it'll start looking back towards the dummy when it gets the confidence. It's as simple as that. It'll start looking back out there at the retrieve. When you've got the steadiness, it's not going to go until it hits the deck or you send it. Because sometimes I send the dog when it's in the air, and other times I send it once it's on the floor. So that's the exercise I build up for a picking up dog, that I want the dog not to move till told. I want to be able to throw out dummies and it doesn't go anywhere till told. But if I send it, it goes straight to the floor. I don't want to be handling it all over the field, because on a shoot, if you're picking up, people don't want to hear you blowing that stop whistle and going, get out, get out, get out, get out. Sometimes you have to do it because you're pushing the dog back on a runner. The bird's got up and moved. The dog went to the spot where the bird was, and then it's got up and moved. And so it's a matter of balance between knowing what you want to do with it, whether you want it picking or have you seen it move on. And then sometimes you have to say to the dog, no, stop. Don't look in that area, because it's now in that area. And that's the advanced training. So if you've got a young dog, you want to keep it simple. Keep it simple for that first season. The more simple you keep it, the more the dog will not lose any of its ability to listen to you. If you allow the dog to get out there and just sweep up on its own, you're definitely going to cause yourself a bit more problem once the dog's had a few sessions out there picking up. Definitely, David, I'm with you on that. David, don't regret the things you have done, the only things you haven't. So true, David. Life's too short in it. We've got to get out there and enjoy it where you can. And if you can afford to do it without hurting other people, why not have a go at it, eh? Chase those dreams. That's what I say to everyone. And, you know, think positive, stay positive. I mean, there's a lot of fucking shit we have to listen to on the internet with the news and the spin they fucking put on the internet, innit? And at the end of the day, I think that can bring people down. And I think the internet is a fantastic tool, isn't it? Because it brings people together. It's like, I listen to you on ear because you keep the gate shut, locked, okay, locked. We keep the gate locked, right? Friends welcome, family by appointment. That's what we say here. She sneaks around the back now, comes in the back freaking field, drives into the back field and goes, I'm here.
I mean, Oliver Swift, he said the wife sent you a friend request on Facebook a few weeks ago. Any chance of accepting her, please?
Oliver, I may have deleted her if she's not got anything to do with dogs on there, because I get so many women contacting me wanting to be my friend, and Sue gets very, very jealous. No, really, Oliver, if she just gives me a blank picture or I can't see that she's into dogs, I tend to not let them in. So if I see her with, if it's obviously your wife, hopefully it's called Swift, and I see a little Swift out there waving at me, I will let her in, no problem at all. Haven't you got a Facebook account yourself? No. So if you ask her to send it again, because if I may have just declined, I have to make sure it's to do with dog people, because unfortunately I do get so many people asking to be my friend, and I look at their profile and I think, why do you want to be my friend? I'm not into paper mache and looking some of the things. You look at some of the stuff that some people ask you to be friends and think, well, I've got to be a little bit careful in case they're really antis and they're just looking to cause trouble. So that's why I don't keep my Facebook site open for everybody to look at. Not that I've got anything to hide. It's just I don't want the hassle out there on the internet with the snowflakes. Snowflakes. Can I say snowflakes? I can say what I freaking want now. I haven't got any court cases against me. So to all you snowflakes, good night and fuck off. If you've been listening, we got 21 thumbs up. By the time I put this down, we'll have a thumbs down on the freaking. Not a problem. Not a problem. So I hope that's started off really slow today. I think I'm not picking my nose. I've got a freaking hair that keeps flicking up onto my nose. Look, I may have to shave the tash. Shave the tash. So excuse me. It started off a little bit slow, and now we seem to be racing ahead with it, don't we? And it's 1 hour and 13 minutes. So you've had 13 minutes over, everyone. So that's 50 people in the house. Thanks everyone for coming in. Oh no, John, hang on, just a second, everyone. Just a second. Don't go yet. Don't go yet. Damn it. Damn it. John sent me 2 pictures. I thought it was his missus. Damn it. I've shown you why I was getting so excited. Stop it. So yeah, he's got 5-generation pedigree here. I think he's bought something. Oh my God, he's been out and bought a pup, I think. Take. Honestly, I've got. Take care, Julian. Nice hearing from you, boy. You came in late, didn't you? Or you've been sitting there in the background, really quiet.
Sort that for you.
Eh?
John said he can sort that for you.
No, John, behave yourself. Honestly, I'll have a freaking heart attack. Stop it, you lot. I tell you what. Me and Sue went out yesterday. Wow, sun come out. How many girls are walking around with hardly anything on? Honestly, it's not good for my blood pressure. Honestly.
Get out of it, you like it.
I like it. I didn't say I didn't like it. She said, get out of it, you like it. I do like it. I love art. All cost money though. Exactly. Especially women. Good night, everyone. Chris Upton signing off, and all have a good one. And be safe and be happy.